An entitled woman demanded bacon, steak, and a custom message on a donated cake, only to leave behind most of the food she received. During one summer, I decided to volunteer at a food bank that was right down the road from my house. I had expected it to be just canned foods or similar, but this place was really amazing. They would put together grocery carts of food that were donated from nearby grocery stores. One box of vegetables and fruit, a box of meat, bread, boxed food, drinks, cans of food, desserts, and, if you were one of the first 20 or so people to arrive, a full, blank cake. I was in charge of the door, which meant taking everyone's tickets for the day and giving them their cart full of food. I had just closed the door to wait for more carts to be finished when I heard someone banging on the door. This wasn't the first time. Some people think I forgot about them or something. So I opened the door and politely said, "Don't worry, there should be another cart ready in a moment." Enter entitled woman. The last person got their cart right away. I explained that their cart was ready, but that there were no carts ready at this time. Then, miraculously, someone finished their cart, and I was relieved I wouldn't have to deal with an impatient person anymore. Boy, was I wrong. Before even looking at the cart, she said, "I need bacon and steak in my meat box." "Oh, I don't think we have that." "Go check." She made a shooing motion with her hands. Awkwardly, I closed the door and went into the kitchen and asked if there was any bacon or steak. It wasn't the first time someone had asked for something specific, but bacon and steak was a pretty tall order. The person working on the meat laughed and said, "We get donated what people don't want. Tell her we don't have any." I went back to the door and apologized, relaying the message that we didn't have any. She let out a loud huff and said, "Then how am I supposed to hold my barbecue?" I didn't want to be judgmental, but I was secretly thinking, "You're holding barbecues with food bank food?" Next, she picked up the cake and said, "Now here's something useful. I need you to write Happy 4th Birthday, insert kid's name." Duh. That's donated from a store. We didn't make it. And? Go put the words on. We don't have frosting. We can't do that. Plus, none of us are trained to write in frosting as far as I know, so I doubt it would turn out well even if we could. She let out a frustrated huff again and said under her breath, "This place is useless." She then tried to grab the cart and bring it outside. Very common for this to happen, but I dug my heels into the floor while explaining you can't bring the cart outside. Then how am I supposed to get the food in my car? I pointed towards the metal tables and explained, "You put the boxes on the table and drive your car up to them." Apparently, this was the final straw for her because she started yelling at me. "I am never coming back here again. You have been nothing but rude to me and have given me barely anything of worth." I don't remember much else because I was near tearful, but it was mainly ranting about how this establishment was useless and she was never coming back here again. Good riddance, honestly. She finally started grabbing the boxes of food and brought them to the metal tables. I was relieved as the last box was taken and quickly closed the door, thinking that was the last I'd see of her. Through the door I could hear her car squealing away and her laying on the horn for some reason. I peeked through the peephole and watched her honk at a parked car a few times before realizing there was no one in it and swerving around it, blowing through the stop sign and squealing away. A minute later, there was a soft knock on the door. I opened it up and was met with a woman looking nervous. That woman left some boxes behind. Sure enough, on the metal table was all of the fruits and veggies and bread and boxed food. She basically took the meats and desserts and left everything else. I told the lady she could just have them along with her cart if she wanted them because we can't bring the food back inside and give it to someone else. Her eyes filled with tears, and she started thanking me profusely. So, at least one good thing came out of the entitled woman's wrath. I ended up telling the other workers, and they were shocked. Apparently, they'd never met anyone that was less than grateful about receiving so much food when they're in a tight spot, even with some of them having worked there for years. Not a super exciting story, but it definitely will forever stay with me.